Welcome back to the Blue Collar Boxing Podcast. As always, I am Luke from Biloxi, coming to you on the road, dedicated to bringing you great content, even when I'm working out of town. Brandon Figueroa scores a massive 12th round knockout to upset Nick Ball in his hometown of Liverpool in the UK and to win the WBA Featherweight Championship of the world. Tremendous effort from both fighters. Was not a boring fight. They both threw a lot of punches. Going into the 12th round, I personally had Nick Ball up by 1 point. Now, one of the reasons I had that is I basically gave every swing round to Nick Ball because I know judges inclined to do, especially for the hometown fighter. And I was right in some degree because Nick Ball was up 5 points on one of the judges' scorecards going into the 12th round, which is ridiculous. Other two judges at ringside had Figueroa up 3 points, meaning Nick Ball would need multiple knockdowns just to secure a majority draw. But Brandon Figueroa didn't know any of that. He was getting just implored by his corner to go out and do more work. Great corner work, great training tonight from Manny Robles. Just outstanding stuff. So he comes out in the 12th round, lands a left hook from the southpaw stance as Nick Ball is throwing his own left hook, not unlike what Alexander Usyk did to Daniel Dubois last year in their rematch. And he puts Nick Ball down on his face. And I really thought it could have been called then. But Nick Ball has a lot of heart. He does get up, he does beat the count. And then the referee, famous for last week's ridiculousness in the Murtazalia fight, gives him a little bit too much time to recover, in my opinion, and even like a coaching session while he was holding his gloves. And I just thought that was ridiculous. Nevertheless, Figueroa storms him, comes out, lands a combination and a left hook again off the top side of the head, and puts Nick Ball out and through the ropes. He was out cold. Little controversy at the end because of the celebrating before Nick Ball was. Fully recovered, or that we knew he was going to be okay. Figueroa did apologize for that in the post-fight interview. I think he was in his corner was just excited. I think they legitimately thought they were down in the fight, and they didn't have a lot of trust of the officiating. And that makes sense. We've seen shenanigans in the UK before, um, and even prior to the fight, Figueroa's team wasn't allowed into the locker room to see Nick Ball getting hand wrapped, and that's just ridiculous. And apparently, the trainer attempted to do something about it and was told, "Hey, it's tough cookies, buddy. Too bad." And that's just insulting, and especially in a world title fight, we got to get these things right. Um, I think Nick Ball, look, he had a massive hometown crowd. One of the reasons I think people may have thought that Ball was winning, the crowd every time Nick Ball would do something would go crazy. And if you scored the fight on crowd noise alone, Nick Ball won 10 rounds of that fight. And we've seen judges we've seen judges, biased because of crowd noise before. And the commentating was just awful. I mean, in the fifth round, Nick Ball is bleeding from the nose. Nobody said anything about it until about 28 seconds left in the round. Check me on that. I'm sitting there going, he's getting busted up, and they're not saying anything. They're not even going, wow, he's getting busted up or his nose is bleeding. Just, biased commentating. Normally that crew's pretty good too, by the way. I just think they were getting ahead of themselves. So Figueroa scores the upset to win the featherweight title, 9 stone, 126 pounds. There's three other title holders in the division. I would love to see him take on Shushu. I think that's a great fight. Two guys that really throw punches. You know, Figueroa is never going to learn to fight tall, even though he is tall. But some of his best work was done while he was fighting tall. When he would triple that jab, he was doing really well. And he was landing body shots from range too. And he needs to continue to do that. They've really got to get him boxing more. Yes, the volume is good in spurts, but he doesn't need to do that the whole fight. But I can't wait to see him again. Turkey Al Sheikh has said on Twitter that he's inviting Brandon Figueroa to defend his championship on the undercard of Canelo Alvarez's return, which is scheduled for September of this year. I hope he's not out of the ring that long, but I know it was a grueling fight. He's going to need some time to heal. Thank you again for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know what you think is next for Brandon Figueroa, and I'll see you on the next one.